Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with
Damon Armstrong, middle
we
the
wel-
middle son.
we welcome you to this week's episode. We appreciate you tuning in from the smallest to the largest crowd. We're not here to entertain. We're here to engage. So, with that being said, welcome today. Um, please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. And we're gonna continue to start to post clips of our episodes. We were on a hiatus, but go to the channel, you'll start seeing them more. Um, but as I said, like, share, and subscribe, build our numbers up. We do the things we need to do. Damon, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing all right, man. Feeling blessed today, man. I'm glad. Hey, it was like 70, 72, 73 degrees today, man.
Michigan hit y'all with the fool's gold. Gonna have it blitz
Man,
tomorrow.
listen, I'll take it. I'll take it how it comes, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I'm gonna take advantage of that of the moment. I tell
Yeah,
you that.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
Uh, Jaquari, our youngest brother, he won't be joining us tonight. Sometimes we have things to do, and things sometimes have to do with us. But he'll be back next week. Myself, I've had because of the pollen season, I have to be careful. I get one. You know how you have too much pollen, and it just gives you a headache around your sinuses. Sinus headache.
Hmm.
It's what I'm dealing with today. So if I feel, ladies and gentlemen, if it looks like I'm dragging, that is why. But
Listen,
I'm happy to be here.
listen, and just to you know what I'm saying, speak on what you're talking about. I remember one year I was down there, man, and the car was green.
Yeah, yeah. It's
The car
coming.
was green. I said, bro, what is all this, man? It's pollen.
Yeah.
I said, oh, I know it's people suffering.
All right. It is.
If it's like this is crazy.
Me and my youngest son, Carson, we have to deal with it. We got to deal with it all the time. You know. But like I said, it's pollen season. But I tell you what, when I was younger, ooh, I went through it when I was younger. As I got older, I got better. You know what I mean? But everything, this time of year I get the sniffles and the occasional headache. Um, like, something that I wanted to ask, and I want your honest opinion about it. And this is just what's on your heart when you talk about it. Are you aware of how many years you've been on this earth? Let's just start there. Are you aware of that? No, I mean, like, do you see do you see just how long you've been here? You know what I'm saying? Because you just turned 60. I'm 61, and I sit around and think about this all the time. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, what's so crazy is some days I wake up and I feel like my 20s is just yesterday. Some days I wake up, I feel like my 30s is just yesterday, and my 40s. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
My 50s were a blur, all the way up to 61, right? And I say that I retired at 55. I say that out of appreciation, like appreciation, man, just to be here. Of course, I have the regular beef about just what's exteriorly out there. You know what I mean? foolishness that's going on with our government, um, the things we as black men face every day, inadvertently face every day, and vertently. But just sitting there thinking about it, I look around, I'm like, damn, I appreciate it here. There I am right now, waking up right now. You know, I guess that's my question. You know, what do you think about it? What are your thoughts on
You want to know something, man? From the time I got with my woman, I had all these hopes, dreams, and aspirations, man. And as we went through life, started having kids and stuff like that, we became responsible. And each kid, man, is a different situation, man. You have to be able to get them to be able to function. You know, there's going to be a time they're going to be without you. So you got to make sure you have peace of mind that, hey, you know what, they're gonna be able to navigate this shit.
it?
You know, but as far as for me, man, we're gonna, I try to remember all the good things, man, all the milestones, because I was a part of it. You know what I'm saying, I mean, me and my wife, we started it as we built our family, as we had our kids, and we built our family stuff. We were a part of all of that stuff. So I remember all the good things, man. I remember some of the bad things because it helped. It helped me become wiser. Man, I raised two girls, man, and I'm not going to say that's a struggle, but that was something that was outside of my scope, man. Because when you think about it, I grew up with two brothers. I had girl cousins and stuff like that, man. But raising a girl, man, you had to really, really, really learn how to listen and be patient. So I remember all those different things, man. I try to make sure that I do because I want to learn from my mistakes, become wise, and all that stuff. But now I think I gained that one thing you need to be able to see what's going on and say, you know what, does that really affect my life, or do I continue to go on my path or whatever? And that's where I'm at, bro. I'm at, okay, you know what, I did the things I was sanctioned to do, the so-called hard parts and all that stuff, and everything turned out well. Now it's time to reap the benefits from it, man. You know, I am still that guy who say, you know what, baby, remember back in '86 we made this promise to each other. I'm still that guy, bro.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I formulated my future around that. I understood responsibility and grinding and going through the whole scenario. But at the end of the day, my uh what I was fixated on was, you know what? I did what I was supposed to do. Everybody is good. Everybody's in a position where they can prosper. Now I can start trying to fulfill some of those dreams that I thought about when I was fucking 19 years old, 20 years old. And I'm literally there, bro. I don't care about all the stuff. It's wars going on. Hell, how many wars that have since we've been on this earth? How many wars have since the Vietnam War, bro? We've been dealing with that. Having loved ones coming home, trying to function in society and struggling on drugs and all that. We saw all of that stuff all the way up to this point. So my point is that's going to happen, man, because we got idiots in charge. But in the interim, man, in the middle of it, what do we do? You know, what do we do to make sure that we're continuing to prosper, that we continue to put our loved ones, our friends, in the place where they, you know what I'm saying? And I think if I didn't have that mindset, that's a dereliction of duty, man, of duty. If I didn't have that mindset and attitude, you know what I'm saying? If I didn't pass on how to navigate, that's my point. Then what was it all for? Because that's what our parents did for us. Am I making sense?
Yeah, I mean, if it makes sense to you, then it's definitely making sense.
Apparently not, because you was like,
No,
okay.
I'm no, I'm waiting for you
No, but I'm
to
following
express
you.
yourself. No, see, that's the thing. You allow people to express themselves, especially on these platforms. You know what I mean? And speaking of express yourself,
Right.
see, let's let's semi make this episode into what ruffles your fucking feathers. And it's nothing dedicated to just strictly politics or race or anything, but everything. What ruffles your feathers? Because I think it's therapeutic. See, most people don't like to complain. They say complaining is a bad thing because people don't want to hear you complain. So, oh, that's a bad thing. Don't sit there and complain. If you complain and just stand
For a
still,
minute, brother.
then that's a problem. That's a
Hold on
problem.
for a minute, brother.
So my thing is, well, I can't hold on, but we in the pod, we lying. But my thing is this: today, and I'll start it off because I want to christen it, and I want to do this every once in a while. Today, I want
All
to
right.
talk about what ruffles my feathers. You know, there's a gambit of things, right?
All right.
And it never stops me. But like I said, you won't hear me like you're the political aficionado around here and you care about them. I am aware of it. But let me begin by saying one thing that ruffles my fucking feathers is the simple fact that people are not allowed to be different. And what I mean by that is just being a black man, my skin color, the things that people, the things that people have been conditioned to think about American black people. It really it angers me for the simple fact that it's taking it's like set in stone. There are some bad black people. Just like every human being, there are some bad human beings. But for us to be put in this box where we only judge by if one of us does something special, we are the exception to the rule. And that ruffles my feathers because I see good men and women in our community do fantastic things and not get recognized for it. Even in our community, not get recognized for it. I'm gonna end there because I have a little more to add with that, but just to give you an idea of what I mean by what's ruffling fucking feathers. That's one thing that I think about every day. Do you have something to put it to add to it?
Is it something that you think about every day, or did something catch your
No, I
attention
want to hear. I want to
that put
hear.
you in that mood?
I want to hear what ruffles your feathers, man. We'll get into the analyzation of how we see things later. This segment here
The
is
things
to
that ruffle my
if you don't have anything, don't force it. Go ahead.
the thing that ruffles my feathers, man, is me getting caught up in the fray, man, getting caught up in the bullshit when I knew better. I was like, man, because I mean, think about this, man. At 60 years old, I'm actually sitting around thinking, man, why did I waste precious time listening to that bullshit? Well, is it because I wanted to be entertained? You know what I'm saying? Or did it actually spark something in me where I wanted to have commentary? I wanted to argue back and forth or have discussion, debate, or whatever. I mean, it's, I think that sometimes I think it get difficult, man, trying to differentiate between all those different factors, man. You know what I'm saying, if you're listening to something, for example, if I see Trump on TV and the captain is and that, which is put in place to gain your attention, and then I sit there and I spend 2-3 minutes listening to the dumb shit, of course I'm gonna sit back and say, man, why did I knew better? You know what I'm saying? It invoked some type of response from me. And if it was negative, why did I spend the time to listen to it? Because I know listening to this guy, I'm gonna always have a reaction. So I've come to the point now where I don't listen to him, man. And every message that he's sending out is either going to be a lie, it's going to be jumbled, or it's going to be some type of egocentric type of seeking attention type of thing, man. So why would I waste my time with that? So my point is, I'm learning to say, you know what? Oh, no, I'm not going to deal with that. Then I can go on with the rest of my day in peace. And you know what I'm saying? And after that, I'm only dealing with the things that really matter in my life. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he affects my life to a certain degree, to a major degree, if you really think about it. But until I have to deal with that shit in the moment, I'm not gonna. You know what I'm saying? How do you prepare for a clown like that, bro? You can't. You can't prepare for that, but what you can prepare for is all the things that you went through, your trials, tribulations, and struggles, and the wisdom you gained from it. You can prepare for that. But the foolishness is going to be that, man. And your first initial thought in dealing with it is, here this clown go again. Let me see how he's going to affect my life. That's some attention getting shit, man. Just for the sake of it. Being in that position of power, bro, you can't be that damn petty. You can't, man, because it affects a whole lot of people and the choices that you make. So like I said, man, I try, unless it affects my life in a direct way, I say, man, I'm not going to allow space in my head and all that stuff. So everything I think about, all the things I experience in life, I try to make it strategic, bro, as it affects me and my family and my loved ones. And that's all I could do at this point, man.
Makes sense.
But give me an example of the things, man, that give you angst, bro.
No, I'm not done. See, I told you this segment, we're going to talk about what ruffles our feathers. If you don't have anything, I'm not analyzing anything right now because that's all we ever do. We talk about and we reinforce the things, how we feel on this podcast. We've done it for the last 3.5 years where we've done these things, but also there's another side to us also. You understand what I'm saying? In which people in which people understand, because like I said, I'm good as far as where my headspace is, but I'm talking about what crosses my mind that ruffles my feathers. I deal with them and I go. You know what I mean? I move on. So I'm able to do that. I'm not stuck. It's just how sad, you get older. When you get older, you start to see life, the value of life. That's what you start to see. You start to see the value of life. You start to see when it's a waste. Because when you see older people close themselves off from the rest of the world, right? Like, forget them. I'm only dealing with mine, right? They see the value and how the value is being wasted. Because that's what we do. We're all guilty of. Human beings are guilty of wasting the value of life, whether it's a small amount or all the way up to a large amount. Because if we don't become aware of who we are and why we're here and blessed and so on and so forth, we kind of spin our wheels. Some of the lucky ones of us, right? They're naive to when they're spinning their wheels. They don't even realize it because they found something to hold on to spend their time through that downtime, through those moments when you should be angry. I think another thing that ruffles my feathers is the simple fact. And I picked ruffled feathers for a reason, so I won't be in here cursing, right? Because another thing that ruffles my feathers is the simple fact that in personal relationships, sometimes people don't appreciate the sacrifices the others are giving to them. They don't appreciate it. Now, does that appreciation comes in, well, thank you, for being here for me, sis, or thank you for this. No, I'm talking about the appreciation where you'll know how important they are, but you'll still infringe on them. And the sad thing about it is, in that personal thing gets in the way of the bigger picture, in which people are compelled towards walking to a better way of being. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. The young folks, right? Shit, when we was in our 20s in the 90s, bro, we was aware of what the hell was going on, and the 90s was violent. The 90s was violent within our community, on the outside of our community. The 90s was violent, right? But we look at the young folks, right? Right, the young folks of the day. This is rough with my family. We take that so-called generational gap and we say, oh, they ain't gonna, some of the common things. Oh, they ain't gonna do right. Oh, they ain't gonna listen. We take the easy path out when all we have to do is try. Now, if somebody turns you down, of course, it's up to you to try again. But if they turn you down, then you say, okay, I'm gonna move on to the next person. Like sometimes it feels like we have shunned our young people as a whole, not individually, but as a whole. And that ruffles my feathers.
Do you think everybody does that, man? Or do you think that some people are understanding? Because when you think about it,
I told you, bro. I told you. Listen, that's why I picked the word not individual. Because that means that there are some people out here who are trying. I'm talking about as a whole, as a concept. As a concept, we're afraid for our young people. We think they're not going to make it. That's a concept. But when you bring it down
as a concept, so you want to take my own individual understanding and feelings out of it and just think of it in like you said, a concept. Okay, I'm following you so far.
I mean, and that's what I mean by it. It's a concept because it's been pumped in our head constantly. The new term for YN. I was so upset when I realized what that was. and nobody told me what it was. I just saw it in the frame of the way it was used. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we're isolating them, but at the same time, understand which is connected to this. Understand these young people don't take the responsibility to meet us halfway as a whole, as in general. You see what I'm saying? Because individually, there are men and women who are really and truly embracing these folks and trying to help them and really and truly are helping them, right? But they say words is power, right?
According to who?
I'm speaking in the sense that words is power. And what do we hear the most of? When it's a general conversation, we talk about young black men and women. What do we
Mm-hmm.
hear the most of about? Speak it into existence. Speaking, if you talk the negative stuff and you keep pumping the negative stuff, and guess what? People are going to start believing them negative stuff and fear. Even though they should be afraid and be wary of situations that they find themselves in, right? But it feels like we're giving up. And the young folks, this is from my own personal point of view. So, you know, you can chop this all up the way you want it to because I'll break it down to just how I feel. I'm giving it out there for the future. The young folks seem like they want to halfway listen if they can get something from you. Not for the knowledge, but for necessity. Do you have a second thing?
If I'm being honest with you, I mean, I recognize the things that you're seeing, and it's giving you angst, and it's giving you making you think in a negative way. But I don't. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I see those things. I see, people being described in that fashion or whatever. But that doesn't. I'm saying that I think that's just young people being young people, man, thinking they're saying something clever, thinking they're setting a trend and all that stuff. But you know what I'm saying? The people that I'm involved with or whatever, I don't associate that word that name with the people that I'm associated with. You know what I'm saying? I just look at it over here and say, that's what they're doing over there. But eventually they're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I haven't given up just because they put a label on somebody. I haven't given up hope in that aspect, bro. You know what I'm saying? Simply because I spent 30 plus years raising people who they can so-called label that, but that's not the case. You know what I'm saying? I found, I supported them in the way, but they didn't see themselves in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? They totally avoided that because they didn't run in them circles. That's not cute. I agree with you. It's a derogatory statement. But it doesn't apply with the people that I associated with, the youngins. You know what I'm saying? And by the same token, I always choose to be an example. I mean, you could have an argument with a clown who thinks they know everything, especially when they're young and inexperienced in life. You can have an argument all day, but it has nothing to do with. I mean, you can always say, "Hey, man, keep on living." What Pop always used to tell us: keep on living. You're gonna go through it, and at some point in time, you're gonna have to make a decision. Do you want to be associated with that name, that word, or are you going to, are you going to do your due diligence, define where your station in life is? You know what I'm saying? You have purpose on this earth. You got to figure out yourself. You don't have to figure out what group that you put in or people choose to put you in. You don't have to figure that shit out because they can put you in that stuff at random and don't even know who you are. What matters most is you understanding what your purpose is, where you stand in life. So with that said, it kind of it kind of puts away all the foolishness, man. I'm saying, let me ask you a question, bro. Out of all the young people that you've known through your life, they might have started off in the foolishness, but the majority of them, did they fall off or did they come into their own and they understand how to navigate this world, especially as black men and women? Did they figure it out? Hell, I know cats who spent decades in prison and came out and figured this shit out, bro. You know what I'm saying? And figured it out. I think that we have to understand people where they're at. Yes, they're gonna be on some foolishness. But
So you telling me you have patience with that, with those people?
I'm saying I have no choice but to have patience with it because I experienced some of that shit myself. You know what I'm saying? What if I didn't have somebody on my side that said, "Hey man, come on, bro, you better than that."
But look, not to cut you off, but it has nothing to do with where you are. I told you what crosses my mind. The two things that crosses my mind. What that's me. You know what I mean? Uh, the the thing that it's not worry, it's not angst. It's more heavy concern. Not because I think it's too late, not for anything, but wondering why, if you have all the information, speaking in Jimmy, if you have all the information about where you're going in your life, as an individual and as a group, you have all the information of what's going to stand in your way, what has pulled you back, what is going to boost you up, all these different things. You have the information, you have the tools, or you can discover the tools, right? Why is it that you still struggle? Because I had a white boy tell me that I worked with, I just don't, it's strong. Can I ask you a question? And then it had a lot to do with the fact that he didn't like the fact that I was his mentor. Because I was his mentor. On the job, I was his mentor. And I didn't suffer any bull crap. But he talked to his father. He told me he talked to his father the day before. And he said, Strong, I have some questions. And I said, You have some questions for me? He said, Yeah, I have some questions for you. And I don't want you to be offended. I said, Listen, you be careful. First and foremost, understand who you're talking to. Because if you had clever questions that had to do with my community, if you have clever questions that had to do with my community, you understand that the answers might hurt you. He was still
What?
confident. He was still confident. And he said, well, let's just try it out. Let me see. And he said to me, well, Strong, when it came to children, he said, in your community, the kids, we were just leaving the school after arresting kids for drugs, and it was a big fight. In your community, you guys have finally afforded the same education as other communities. I said, yeah. He said, well, tell me something. Why don't you guys take advantage of it? And I said, you know what? You're about to offend me because you're getting ready to, you just asked a very ignorant question. Not ignorant that you offended me, but ignorant as far as intelligence. So you and your father came up with this to ask me. He said, well, no, my father didn't have anything to do with it. It was just him and some buddies, sitting around. And I was just eavesdropping on what they were saying, so I wanted to come back here to you. He said, I said, okay, it was ignorant for you as far as intelligence. Because I don't know your father, so I'm not going to disrespect him. But if those words came out of his mouth, do you not understand that he only sees respect of the population, right? And I bet you guys don't really be around black folks. And if you do, you know, because you live out in the country, they're farmers, just like you. He said, well, yeah, I can't disagree with that. And he said, well, yeah, you know, they hard working, but they don't do as well as us. I said, because you have a community to support you, meaning that you would take advantage of those folks because you're in a power position, right? But here's the ignorance of your question. You see a small speck and you and your father think that you feel you're on top of the world because there's no black man in your area that has more. And if he does, you don't know what he do for a living, but you want to call him a drug dealer. Now he's crazy, you know, his face started getting red. I said, I told you that you would probably have a problem with this answer, but I'm letting you have it. And I said to him, you have no authority to talk about the rest of the world because you look at this school. This school has 2,000 kids in it. And the 1%, even though it was all black kids fighting, you can say that as 1% of that total population, them other kids are not doing anything but going to class. Some of them getting a trade. This is my assumption. And if we really went into it, I said, I am not trying to make excuses or justify my existence to you. I'm telling you just how stupid you sound and how stupid anyone who wants to lean on the race card sounds. Because you, no matter how much experience that you have in your life, you don't know the scope of every one in our community. But you assume and you believe the lie. He looked at me. He was speechless. I said, of course you're speechless. You want to know why? Because you wish you had a damn snappy comeback. But you know if you offend me, I might put my hands on you. I looked at him, and I didn't scream these things. This was low, normal conversation. I said, I get sick of people like you and your father who assume because you're treated a little bit better than the black community. And the only reason you're getting treated a little bit better, because you're getting shitted on by people in power. You're getting shitted on, but they don't dump as much of that damn feces on you as they do us. I said, any more fucking questions, man? He said no. And he walked away. Now, he didn't talk to me. I worked with him. He was my partner. He didn't talk to me for a solid week. You know, we did our business. You know what I'm saying? We went through, did our business. We did everything we were supposed to do, right? But as far as conversation, he did not broach it. And I'm going to bring this to a closing. This man, now you understand how I handled that. I could have handled it either way. But I wanted to be thorough because I understood that violence is what I wanted to do. Because I heard this horrible bullshit about our community my whole life. But guess what? It never fazed me because I knew my strength. I knew who I was, who I was raised to be, who I recognized the smallest skill that I had into the largest skill, right? So I stood 10 toes just on life, my community, right? To bring this to a close, when I retire, we have we meet in the conference area, right? And all your coworkers and everybody comes in when they have time. And my family sat around with me, and friends came, and they invited people to come up and speak. That same young man got up there and started talking, and within 2 sentences, he started to cry and said to me how much he appreciated me, even though he knew that I might have hated his guts. Because he knew how, he said, Armstrong knew how I felt about things, but he still worked with me. And he said, I can truly say that he was a proud black man.
That's deep, bro.
But my point, this is my point. I analyze everything, and what ruffles my feathers is the simple fact that we have the tools, we know the enemy, we know that cooperation and ingenuity and togetherness propels us forward. But one of those things always is missing. Do you have something that ruffles your feathers? Or do you want me to say something else?
I think if you got some stuff on your heart or on your chest, bro, you need to get it off, man.
It's not. See, don't get me wrong. See, don't do that, because it ain't on my heart. This is stuff that I think about and have addressed and have solved for myself. Right?
I'll say this. I'll say this. I remember in college, man, I used to go back and forth with this teacher, one of my professors, going back and forth, and he would always challenge me. You know what I'm saying? And I knew it was a black and white thing. He made it that. Now this is a professor. I'm just a student. You know, and his thing was to try to belittle me because I was one of the main players on the basketball court. And he wanted to diminish me to just the basketball player. And you don't know the real struggles in life and what it's really all about and all this stuff. So I called our father and I told him the whole scenario. And you know what he said? He said, man, the one thing that you need to think about, son, is that being in the position that you are in right now, you're going to always find yourself on the defense, man, because people are going to challenge you on that. But one thing you have to think about and recognize is this. They challenge you for a reason, bro. They challenge you for a reason. They bringing up all this silly shit that you had to overcome. You know what I'm saying? Can't no bigot or white or racist person come at me and tell me, hey, man, what about DEI? And what about, hey, bro, I've been through it, man. I had to overcome that. So whatever you're talking about, what you feel defensive about it, has nothing to do with me. And the only reason why you challenging me is because you see me as a threat. Fight. Bring your best game. You know what I'm saying? Do that. Don't challenge me because you see me as a rising star. Because you want to challenge. You the one that's teaching the class. You're the instructor. You're the professor. But you want to come at me with your bigotry and your bullshit and want to try to diminish me in that aspect? I'm way past you, dude. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what it took for me to get to this point? And you think because you say something, you want to have an audience and say some dumb shit that's supposed to affect me? You're not even close to where I'm at. And by virtue of the fact that you address me in front of the class, I know that you see me as a threat, and you already in the position. You a clown, dude. And like Pop said, he addressing you, man, because he see that you have potential. He see that, hey, man, did he earn this spot? Did he did this? Did he did that? Oh, he's just a basketball player. Dude, do you realize, man, that I have to audition to be able to make the damn team? I have 15 strikes against me, and I'm still sitting in your class, and you want to challenge me, and you a professor. You know what I'm saying? That speaks to your character. That speaks to who you are as a so-called man. I'm 19, 20 years old. You in your damn 50s. But you want to speak on politics, you want to speak on all this stuff. You try to diminish my character. Like I had an easy road. No, man, my road wasn't easy. You have no idea. And that is the thing that most of these type of people don't understand. They don't understand your struggles and your trials and tribulations. You understand? We understand what we've been through and how to maintain and overcome. You want to punch down and have the attitude, well, you know what? You only got there because you don't know what that feels like. You don't know, you have no idea of what that's like. You have no idea. You don't understand a person's, you know what I'm saying? Your dumbass don't realize that if I'm one of your star students, it's a feather in your cap to see me as a young black man to overcome and you know what I'm saying, and graduate your class at the top of your, that's a feather in your cap. But because of your racism and bigotry, you didn't understand it. So you choose to try to diminish me in front of majority white classmates. You know what I'm saying? You try to diminish that. What is that saying about you? This fictitious, hey man, you got it easy. You tell me a black person that got in college had it easy. Student loan debts and all that. It's never easy. But you on the level that you are, you want to argue with a person. You know what I'm saying? And I understood what Papa was saying when he said, when you're in this position, man, you got to pick your battles. You can't argue with everybody. You got to pick your battles, man, because they don't see you as a rising star. They don't see you as that. They see you as that, you know what, he might be a threat. He might have took somebody else's position. He might have did that. You know what I'm saying? Some of that might be, some of that is it's just crazy, man, how you not on my radar, but you want to display me as something that you don't know anything about, which blows my mind. You know what I'm saying? It is crazy to me how, you know, I'm going to say this last point, just for a small example, or larger to a certain extent. When Trump first got in office, they went through this whole DEI situation, right? Definitely got my attention. So I'm looking at it. He picked his cabinet, and it's all DEI cats who don't know what the hell they're doing. So what is this? What is history going to dictate if it's true history? Oh man, they was talking about DEI stuff, and they shut all this stuff and started taking people's pictures off, portraits off the wall, and names off the buildings, all this stuff because it's DEI and all this stuff, right? And these motherfuckers are so incompetent. The first week of the damn war, they shot all their bombs off, and now they want to go back to Congress and get money to build more bombs. You tell me is that incompetent?
That's the company line, man. They did not do that. They're made of war, man. We have a stockpile. So that,
my point is, the information that they put out, this is the information that they're giving us.
They're telling the sheep this shit, and the sheep is believing it.
Well, my point is, when you look at it person for person, position for position, none of them know what the hell they're doing whatsoever.
I agree.
And we're supposed to sit back and think, hey man, you know what? Because they white men and they in charge, they do. No, you don't. You don't have any idea. You done fucked up the world because because you're so brash and think that you this and you that, and you have no idea. You didn't go through the struggle. You didn't understand how it affects other people. You know what I'm saying? Generationally. You don't have any idea. So I sit back and I look and I'm like, I'm not gonna get mad because a guy want to question me about my credentials or who I am as a black man. I'm not finna sit back and listen to that foolishness because I'm looking at you being a white man or whatever, and you don't even know what the hell you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Your ignorance is on display. Who are you to question anything?
Well, you want to know before the civil rights bill was done and different things were put in place for hires with DEI and all that, and it's horse shit. It is what it is. But the point I'm trying to make, before that was put in place, it was nepotism.
I understand that you and
Everything was ruled by nepotism.
I understand that you and that guy had a moment, bro, and I understand how it affected you on an emotional level.
Stop.
That's an independent situation.
No. Hold on. Let me explain something to you. It was no emotional level I was affected on. See, this is the thing.
I'm not trying to overspeak, man, but
listen to what I'm saying to you, brother, so you understand. I'm not disagreeing with you. I want you to understand where I'm coming from because I'm on the level. When I speak, I am completely and totally in control and understand why I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's what it is. I'm not disagreeing. You might feel like I was affected in emotion. No, hell no. You want to know why? Because I understood where I was and where he was in my thinking,
I got
stature,
that part.
spirit. But that's what I'm saying to you.
But you affected him. But you affected him in a certain way where your message got across. Did that?
But see, that's the thing. Was I trying to get my message across, or was I telling him that fucking if you put your hand in the snake den, it's gonna get fucking bit, especially when you don't have no knowledge of how to deal with things.
You were relaying the message, and it got across.
So, look, bro, let me tell you something. I'll tell you when I'm angry. I'll tell you if I'm pissed off. Right?
I didn't
I
say you
told you
were angry. I said you were relaying the message.
This is Ruffle Feathers Day, meaning,
right?
What ruffles your feathers, not makes you angry. No, it's like the audacity. Let me check this. You understand what I'm saying?
It required you to speak out, right? Speak your mind.
But I gave you that example just because I was trying to make the other in the simple fact that we have people who think this about us and they show us every day, right? But we have no camaraderie, cooperation, or community as a whole, just in pockets. Because remember I said individually, you think these ways, when it came to the young folks. Because there's a lot of individuals out there. Right? But guess what we do? We are conditioned to toe the company line. These YNs and this and that and these young folks won't run. These old heads, oh man, they don't get it. You know what I mean? They dinosaurs. They don't know. The whole thing, both sides are saying this shit, right? And both sides is losing.
Here's what I said with this whole thing, bro. Real talk. And I can only speak to my personal experience as of now that I'm living my life, right? I'm dealing with my grandchild, right? Now I've raised 3 kids. I'm dealing with my grandchild. What I know is how to teach her how to navigate ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, being that star student to get the attention. You know what I'm saying? Once you get that attention, you are able to navigate your life to the point where you're trying to go in your life. You have a purpose. You have a goal that you're setting. And the more and more you believe in yourself, you have an easier path because you got people saying, you know what? This child over here That's a feather in my cap when she is making me look good. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, she's gaining something from it. You know what I'm saying? So my thought process is I want my grandchild to be one of the pretty kids that people pay attention to, people that matters that's paying attention to, and I know how to smooth and do whatever to get them to pay attention to my granddaughter. Hey, do y'all is there a STEM class that she could go to? You know what I'm saying? That she might be possibly interested in or whatever. If she get up into STEM, hey, you know what? What colleges can she apply to that's going to get her in? Because you know a fraternity, person who's in power that can pay attention to this child. I mean, that's what we relegated to, bro. And that's my personal experience. You know what I'm saying? That's what I know.
I got
A child, a child understanding their strengths, understanding their discipline, and moving forward to get the things they want in life. I can't be worried about some bigoted ass person who want to question why ain't y'all taking advantage of shit. That's exactly what we doing over here, bro. Taking advantage of it.
that's the point I was trying to make to you in giving you that story. That we take advantage every single day. It goes unnoticed. Is what's going on. It even goes unnoticed by us, so to speak. You understand?
Here's what's crazy. Not to cut you off, but here's what's crazy. Going through the process, some of the process that I just described to you, there are other people who I'm not related to come to me and my wife and say, "Hey, man, you know what? How can we navigate this shit too? How can we be involved also? This is community. That's a community thing, man. We can't get caught up in the mire of somebody who can't understand why you there. You don't know that. You don't know their struggles and trials and tribulations. You don't understand what it is. You know what I'm saying? First of all, a black child is going to have to deal with failure before they deal with unless you can dribble a ball or run a ball to dribble one. They're going to deal with failures. You know what I'm saying? On numerous occasions. It's about teaching them to have confidence that the road that they're on, if they're giving their best self, is what they're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? You can't get caught up with this clown over here who didn't even do half the shit you did. But they want to diminish it by saying, "Oh, the only reason why you got it like that." But I guarantee you, if an educational institution is about keeping their stats up or whatever, they're going to pick the best person who they know ain't going to fucking flunk out, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's not legacy. It's work. It's work. It's dedication. You know what I'm saying? It's being starved within your own constitution. You know what? I am smart. I am gifted in this area. You know what I'm saying? That is the thing that they try to destroy, what you're gifted in. You know what
So
I'm saying? Go ahead, bro.
finish your point, then I'm gonna move on to something else. And it's a question. It's more. It's not. It has to do with ruffling feathers, but an actual thought.
Okay. Give me 1 second, bro. I'll be back in 1 second.
See, ladies and gentlemen, this what you have to deal with when you got old men on your podcast. People always got to take a tinkle break. No, I'm not gonna put that on him, but he act like you see how he was jittering, like I'll be back. But in the meantime, folks in the comments, this is Ruffle Your Feathers Day. Is there anything that ruffles your feathers that you care to speak on for us to touch on? Please put them in the comments. You know, this is sort of a semi-formal, therapeutic, getting it off the chest day. That's what it is. So if you see me a little more animated than I've been in a long time, this is what I'm doing today because sometimes you got to purge yourself. Where you're doing right, you're doing right by yourself and doing the things you need to do and being who you need to be, right? You know, being the person you need to be, right? But sometimes you need that hobby, that release. Well, this is the podcast release, right? I am not in here on some, I speak on my blackness every day. I speak on our community every day. But I'm not going to call out no white devils. I'm not on that type of time. You know why? Because me personally, in my heart, this is my heart of heart, I feel this. We have the strength as a community to extend and to overcome and to build. It's just we have to get out of our own way. Now, specifically what I mean by get out of our own way, I don't know. But I know that we have the skill set to dominate every facet of life because we do every day. We do every day. But like I said, folks in the comments, if you have anything that you want to ruffle your feathers with, put in the comments. Spit the poison out. If you got it, spit the poison out. We're going to do this every blue moon, just for GP, for our audience and for ourselves. So, Damon, let me ask you a question. And I'm trying to be as lighthearted as possible. Do we like each other as a community? Do we like each other? I'm speaking in general. I'm not talking about you as an individual. Because I love being a black man. I love being a part of this community. But I'm just in the sense. Let me rephrase it. Does it look like we like each other? Not love, not adore, because I believe that's in there, but like each other. People in the comments, give us your comment also. Let me know. Go ahead, Dan.
I absolutely do believe that, man. I believe that wholeheartedly.
Why? Give me examples of why.
Why? Because of my own personal experiences in life, man. As a 60-year-old man, there were absolutely times where I saw us together in my own personal experiences. I saw it. I experienced it. I'm saying I reached back and people responded to it. Me and my wife reached back and responded to it, and people, man, do you know how many people that we associated with and dealt with, all this, walking around with master's degrees and shit?
Is that gratitude or is it like? This is why I said I'm keeping it light, man. I'm not talking about the people that you took care of.
No, I'm saying leading by example, man. And people saying, you know what, man, I appreciate. You know what I'm saying? It's people walked up to us that we didn't even know, saying, hey, man, we've been watching y'all from afar and y'all gave us a blueprint. Okay. And we were sitting around thinking, who is that? When they left our presence, me and my wife looking at each other, talking about, who was that? I don't know. I mean, that's how it works, bro.
Okay.
That's how it works. You say, do we like each other? If you got somebody over here that's paying attention in your life and they see you as a successful couple, and they say, hey, man, I don't know you, but I've been watching you from afar, and I appreciate what y'all doing with each other. You gotta have some type of affinity or gratitude towards the person, man, in that aspect.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And it has nothing to do with what you're trying to prove. It's just you being yourself. And just going through the motions, the trials and tribulations and struggles, and then all of a sudden somebody out of the blue comes to you and say, hey, man, you know, you're having a bad day and you're struggling and you're going through your stuff. And then somebody comes to you and say, man, I just want you to know this. I've been watching you and your woman for a long time, and y'all inspired me, and I'm married and I'm raising my family, and this is what it is. You know, and then and you're sitting there and you're thinking, first of all, who is this person?
I get what you're saying.
Second of all, everything that I was doing, was it all bad? Was it all the struggle, or was some of the things that I struggled through on a consistent base or a consistent basis? Was it
Hold
right?
on, hold on. Before you leave the question, right? Because I want to read the comments that Larry Howe put up. I put it on the screen. What's going on, Larry? How you doing? I don't
What's
want to
going on,
leave
bro?
that question. Do we like each other? That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking do we inspire each other? I hope so, because this is why we're still here, because there's a lot of inspiration. You know what I mean? Or we help somebody out so they have an affinity towards you, affection towards you because you help them. I get that. I said, do we like each other? Because like is the beginning of cooperation. But hold on. Let me read this real quick while you think about it. Larry Hound says, if you are a black male or female and you graduated from high school, college, or work for 30 years, the pressure of values and self-worth was placed upon you. Both was taught to work hard, do your job, and other jobs for very little pay and no promotion. But blacks continue to work harder to force their place in the workplace. DEI exists in all race, and it should be used as a tool to enrich the world. Um, I agree with you, Larry. You know what I mean? Larry Howe is a OG, and he was a great deputy. Did his job very well in every facet and also equally a good human being. I just wanted to read that. But Damon, what do you think? What do you
I
think?
mean,
Do we like each other?
you say, do we like each other, man? You know, okay, you're talking about utopia, man. If everybody liked each other, man, it would be a perfect ass world, man. Some people you disagree with, and that's just what it is. What you
Uh,
respect,
see,
what they
you
bring
see,
to life, what they
see,
bring to a situation or whatever. You respect it. You don't have to be best friends with anybody, bro. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to like me, but you have to respect me, bro. If
you, you,
you come
you,
to
you,
a
you
conclusion
see,
that you do,
you see how you are battle hardened in a simple fact because this is a simple question. It's either a yes or no question.
but I'm not back. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
battle
are.
hard
You
at
want to know how
all.
you are? You want to know how you are? Because you keep going back to whether or not somebody appreciate or respect or understand where you're coming from. I'm just saying in our community
Well,
that's
that's
the
how you
simple.
formulated the question, bro.
No, it's not.
Do or do
No, it's
people have to
not.
like you?
No. When did I say that people have to like you? I said,
Okay,
as a community, do we like each other? That's all I said. That's all I
okay.
said. You,
So
you
you
see what
give
I'm
me,
saying?
you tell me what point, get what point are you making, bro? Do we like each other? I said in the beginning, I said yes, we do because we look at each other and we learn from each other. Some of us take advantage of it, bro.
But is that like? All right, say you know somebody you like. See, I simplified the question for a reason because just like I said, you're battle hard. You in the sense that yo, I need to justify why we like each other and all this. All I simply said was, do we? And I repeated it to you. Do we like each other?
You said I'm trying to justify. I mean, if that's how you took it, then
I'm
let me
taking
correct
it that
you.
way because you are. Look, you said yes, I did because we can learn from this and we can.
I'm
I didn't say all that. I didn't ask you all of that.
I'm not battle tested because somebody liked me, man. Are you serious? You know what
All
I'm
right,
saying?
we
I
no,
didn't
no,
I didn't come
we
to a
going.
certain.
Listen, we're going down. You over analyzing that question, bro. You
Okay, then
really
how
are.
would you answer? Okay, if you was in my place, how would you answer the question?
I think we don't. Sometimes we don't because
That's
there
that's
there's no
good.
there's no cooperation. But see, I chose the word sometimes. You
Okay,
understand
so
what I'm saying?
I understand the fact that you trying to be right, in its totality, but are you?
Wait, hold on, man.
It's
Hold on.
nuances to it, bro.
No, wait a minute.
Look, you keep
How
asking
am
me
I
the same.
Yes, and you're not
It's
answering the
nuances to it.
question. You're not
It's
answering the
nuances.
question.
If you don't
Okay.
like my answer, man, that's not my issue, bro.
You know what? We're gonna move on because the simple fact is you're trying to analyze it, and you shouldn't do that because I
And that's
told you
what I'm.
not to analyze it. Yes, you did.
If
You
you
just
ask
said
me
to
a
me,
a nuanced question, I'm not
you just
supposed to
asked
be
me,
analytical
you just said that I was trying to be right. How am I trying to be right?
because I gave you an answer. You just didn't like the answer.
You did not answer the question.
Okay, that's why I asked you to give me an example because
And
I
then
don't
I
know.
did give you an example. I said you said that you and your wife help each other. I mean, help other people, and was example for other people. I said, is that like or is that appreciation?
I
You,
said
you recall me saying that?
I said me and my wife help people that we didn't even know.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm saying.
Right. So those people who paid attention to us, they had to like us to a certain extent to follow our example.
And I said to you,
Nuance.
is it more appreciation or is it like? Because you doing something for somebody, they learn to like you if they strangers,
Okay.
right?
You said appreciation or like. You have to come to a conclusion, man. If you following somebody else's example, they're an inspiration to you. It's something about them that they like, bro. You can't deviate between the two, bro. There has to be something that you admire and like about them for you to affect their life in that aspect, bro. I think that goes without saying. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong.
We're gonna move on because, like I said, you're trying to make it, and that's what I was just trying to see. I was trying not to fear
So
you
what
or
do you
anything
see
like
that
that.
I'm trying to do? What do you see that I'm trying to
I
do, bro?
said the things that you did for people, right? Is that more appreciation because they can learn to like you after you did something for them to appreciate you about,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
I'm following you.
all I said was, do you think our community likes each other? That's what I said.
I think the major part of our community loves each other and does like.
Okay.
The biggest struggle is that small percentage that don't and who choose to exploit us. That's the thing that we need to focus on. But in its totality and as a whole, we genuinely, as a people, love each other.
I
What do
got
you think we vote? What do you think we march for? Voters' rights and all these different things. All these civil actions that came into play that America is supposed to be following right now. We did that because we love and respect our humanity as a people. That's what it was, bro. And then you come with, do we like each other? It's legislation in place that says that we do. We marched and got heads beaten in simply because of that. If that's not love, what else is it? And now we're supposed to dismiss that at this point in time, thinking because we've been challenged in that aspect, do we really like each other? First of all, let's understand this. The people that's getting the most attention is the people who speaking against us. Because that's part for the course. That's what the system wants the world to believe. But as a whole, in this totality, we generally love and like each other. That's just fact.
so that's how you feel.
I know that that's
Okay.
exactly how I feel
Okay,
because
that's how
if
you
you
feel.
think about it, people sacrifice lives because of
O-
that like and love for each other.
Okay. Okay.
So my question for you is, how do you become this person who's questioning whether or not we love each other?
See, listen to what I said to you because I gave you my answer, and all of a sudden you said I'm questioning something. I said to you that sometimes it feels like it's not because there's no mutual cooperation. That's exactly what I said. You felt like I was being combative because I wanted you to answer the actual question.
I'm simply answering your question as best of my ability, man.
Okay, but
If
see,
you appreciate it,
eventually,
if you appreciate my answer, that's one thing. If you
when you
don't
when
and you
you
want to
listen,
continue to challenge it,
when you actually listen to me, you actually answer the question that I asked because you said we like and love each other. That's all. That's all. That's the question that I asked.
okay, all right, then I'm with you.
Mike Williams, what's going on, brother? OG. Mike says, I think that some like people in communities, some don't. I think we need to learn to make alliances and watch out for those crabs in the bucket, the ones who are only out for themselves. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you,
Great
brother.
show.
I think, man, that I'm not even gonna say a learning curve, man, because people have to take responsibility. I think eventually people might be selfish and off on themselves. It's all environmental.
With that
What
being
they
said,
experience it.
Larry's comment goes in line with what you just said, Dan. Most people really don't like each other. They just tolerate you for the time period.
Isn't that gaining wisdom, bro? Isn't that understanding? Hey, one day that light bulb pops up, flashes, and you say, "Man, I'm on the wrong side of shit." You know what I'm saying? I'm on the outside looking in.
Lawrence has something for you. He asked, if we loved each other, why is the community still in shambles? Do you think the community is
Is
in
it?
shambles then?
Is
That's the
it in
question.
shambles?
Yeah.
Okay. Speak on this situation. When Trump was running for presidency and all this stuff, and everybody was going against our community and all this stuff, and we were saying, man, do not vote for this man, right? And then he gets in office and enacted all this bullshit, right? Trying to disappear our history and all this stuff. And we decided we're not going to march, we're going to stay at home, and we're just going to, stay together as a people. Have we or have we not done that?
I think you have a point, Dana. And really the optics of it, Lawrence, you might feel as though it's in shambles, but this is what we're being shown every day. And it's a small percentage of what we've been shown. When I say small percentage, I'm talking about the percentage that's being thrust on our screens, our TV screens, our computer monitors, our tablets, our phones, what is exposed to us for free every day. So if you had a steady diet of that, or you had a job in which you worked, Lawrence, and you have a job that you only deal with troubled people, and then you're digesting the rest of this stuff, you're gonna feel like it's in shambles if you allow yourself to do it. That's my answer to that, Lawrence. Sometimes we have to understand, take a deep breath, and understand exactly where we are and what we see every day. Is it a is it a stockpile of negativeness because of the vicinity that we're in, or is it if we moved our sights, align our sights in a different direction, would we see the same thing that we're dealing with at first?
If you're in a job, man, that brings you negativity, man, and you got a person that you can call that brings you solace and understanding and peace. You know what I'm saying, do that, you know, is it you having to come to an understanding that, you know what, the world is not as bad as I think it is, because I can make a call and get comfort. I can make a call and get understanding. Now, if you living in that world and you can't call any damn body, be it somebody in your family or a stranger, and you can't call them and get solace and peace, you know what I'm saying, then it is a bad situation. But if you could call and they pick up that damn phone and work you through it based on not just some old random shit or whatever, but based on their personal knowledge of you and how you get through it, then no, I'm not going to sit up here and sit and think and believe that we don't like each other. That's a farce. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? And that is just how the world works. That's just how it is. Sometimes when you're not your best self, be it your woman, be it your husband, be it your best friend or whatever, they're gonna get you through the process. That means that you have to like somebody to be able to function and get through it in your worst situations, bro. In your worst situations, in your worst experiences, if you can make a call or pick up the Bible, you're gonna find some type of peace in that. You're going to find that, you know what, it's more than just my angst. It's more than just my attitude about what I see. It's something above and beyond that. You know what I'm saying? And that's who we should be towards each other. I think that because of the internet and all these different places that we look at in our worst moments, we want to look for somebody who identify with us in our worst moments. That's just a natural human thing that we do. But at some point in time, I'm not going to say all, but some of us see outside of that and say, you know what, I was looking at it in the wrong way, because this is affecting me in a negative aspect. I have to see something different. So I have to see somebody I have something in common with, somebody who understands my situation. You know what I'm saying? This is a big world. There's a lot of people out there that understand your situation, but understand how to come out of it. To say, hey man, look, man, is it as bad as you think it is? Well, I don't have any damn. Imagine being on the phone with somebody and say, man, I can't talk to nobody. Nobody's there for me. And this and that and that and this. And that person says, well, hell, you talking to me? And I'm actually listening to you. You follow what I'm saying? So is it that bad? Hell, somebody even wishing you, hey man, you know what? I understand you have the struggles, bro, but I wish you peace. Isn't that something? And I'm gonna pray for you. That's a starting point. That's a foothold, man. It's not all negative. It's not all bad. It's like, damn, man, you know, when he did have a point. I was angry and in my feelings, and I didn't want to agree with him, but he was right. Or she was right.
I mean,
Gave me thought. Gave me
have
thought.
the things that you've gone through had you matured to this point.
Wisdom.
You know, everyone else has not been able to do. No, I can't say that. That would be wrong for me to say. There are some people who dwell in that negative space.
I agree with that.
That dwell in that negative space and don't know how to get out of it. And that's the thing about it is, what I understood about myself is this. I had a process of going to where I am now. I had a good foundation where I started from because I had responsibilities heaped on me since I was a child, right? So that was a good foundation.
Mhm.
So once I was going out into the world, I had to stumble and get up and keep going because my foundation had me get up and keep going. Some people don't have it because they've been conditioned to be victims. And I think when I run into somebody like that, I practice a lot of patience with them because you know how you're used to doing something and before you know it, you think it's the norm and it's not until somebody comes along like, hey man, what the hell is you doing? Somebody that you listen to. Like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? Is that we all in different levels of being, especially in our community, different levels. Lawrence, we're not in shambles. I just think that some of us have it harder than the rest of us. But when you think about, and I'm speaking to you because I know you personally, Lawrence, think about your journey, your path, where you came from, and who you became. That's all positive light. And you think about your children and how you invested yourself into your children. You planted that seed in them to grow into great men and women.
And what seed are you planting, bro? Is it is it all predicated on what you're trying to instill with them, or
Who you
teaching
are,
them,
man. Who you are as a person.
like teaching them
Who he became.
how to recognize themselves and understand that they matter in this world and they have a place?
And that's a good point. And I went off assumption that he understood what I was saying to him because I was speaking to him personally.
I was just asking the question. You know what I'm saying? I'm not questioning what you're saying. I was
What
just
I
trying
said.
to add
Oh
on.
yeah, and I agree with what you were saying. But see, I assumed that was a part of it because what he did was plant the seeds in them to sprout for his grandchildren, his great grandchildren, and so on and so on. Because sometimes that works for change. When you start from the young, when you plant it and you instill it in them, sometimes, you get the right momentum and change. Agents of change are transformed into something.
You want to know you want to know one of the things, man, that frustrated the hell out of me, man, when I left our parents' house, man, and I went to college and shit, and I was going through my trials and tribulations. I would call my father, our father, and I would tell him the situation, and I would ask him his advice. And you know what he said? I remember when he first said it to me. He said, "Son, I gave you everything I know, but at this point, you're going to have to make your own decisions, man. You know what I'm saying? You might be wrong, but you always have the option to learn from it. So when you build your family and your base and your understanding of how to navigate life, you're navigating from a place where you're learning from shit. You're not bitter about it. You know how to navigate. You know how to prosper. You learn how to do all this stuff. You're gaining wisdom. He didn't give me the answers. He said, figure it out. But make sure when you're figuring it out that it's not going to hurt you moving forward. Be open to suggestions. Be open to all these different things because there might be some people in your life that's teaching you the right stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you have to figure out and understand the balance, man. If you have animosity, you're not going to learn how to move forward. You're just going to stay in that space, and you're going to be a bitter person. What you have to do is say, you know what? Yeah, I went through that, but I see light at the end of the damn tunnel. You know what I'm saying? And I'm determined to go there. And this person who may be bitter over here is not going to dictate this journey over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to give them the opportunity to even affect this over here. No, man. You don't bother me, man. You know what I'm saying? I got through that with you. I'm over here and I'm trying to whatever.
Wisdom.
You know what I'm saying?
Wisdom.
I'm not finna live my life that I can't even see. Do you know what it takes, man, to wake up bitter and angry every damn day? And what and the physical cost that it acts on your life, bro. If you're gonna be inspired about life, be inspired about the possibilities. You know what I'm saying? Man, I went through this shit, but damn, it's something that's better than this. Let me look over here. And that should be your experience. You know what I'm saying? And anytime you sway back and forth to back over here, you understand that, man, I can't go back there because I learned from it and now I'm over here. And that's it. There's no animus over here. There's no anger. There's none of that. It's this, man, you know what, bro? Hey, man, I wish you the best of life, but I'm over here, man. And I'm trying to figure out how to deal with my life because the only thing that matters is not a community sitting around being pissed off and angry. The only thing that matters is being an example that you can overcome that. You can move outside of that scope. Every person that everybody reads about and minds or whatever was independent and found their own lane in life. And we admire them for that because they found their lane. They found who they are and they was able to express and articulate it. And they say, damn, I didn't know that. Oh, man, that's deep. Oh, man, you know what? I need to pay attention to that person because they overcame some shit. My bad, bro.
I think that it makes sense. I think that we all live at we grow at our own pace, which is a shame because our foundation always starts. Some of us start with a strong foundation. You know what I mean? I'm talking about a community. Some of us start with a strong foundation. Some of us have to piece their own foundation together. They'd be blessed to have examples to follow. Like it moves to its own pace. But you know, preservation, self-preservation, we've always been, as a community, we've always been good at doing so. Because what we've done, every time we've been handed lemons, we made lemonade. We made strawberry lemonade, raspberry lemonade, different versions of lemonade. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. So, you know, my line of questioning of today is to question what you see. So if you see this in the future, you see this in clips, you see the whole version of the podcast, understand what's going on. It's the simple fact that old head like myself, like I'm on the back end of life. You know, people younger me and further. The thing about it is you have to go through what you go through. But the one thing
I
that you
agree.
have to understand is what is your diet at the time? Is it a healthy diet? Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, is it a healthy diet? Because if you have a healthy diet, you're able to stand up when you stumble. You're able to withstand the wind trying to topple you over. You're able to do these things because it all falls down to me, my opinion, individually, how you feel about yourself, who you are as a human being, who you are as a human being, how you carry yourself, not how people look at you. That's the mistake that we make, man.
A lot of people
I've
make that
made it.
mistake.
I've
A lot of
made it.
people. All right.
I've made that mistake when I was young, right? made it like, worried about. Even though I'm doing my own thing and still got the majority of my pride, I still think about the optics of what you see when you see me, right? Then I started and forgive my vulgarness. I said, I don't give a fuck what people think about me. And that's in the stance of not searching for validation. See, that's the key. Because if you have a family that's counting on you and you have someone who loves you and adores you, and you're doing the things you need to do, you don't need them to validate you. You know why? Because they're going to do it anyway. They're going to do it anyway when they see your example, what you provide for them, how you carry yourself, everything. Now, this is not a perfect world because you could do everything right, but you could have chosen the wrong partner, or your partner could have chose the wrong partner, right? And you base your life on your relationship. You base who you are on your relationship. Man, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna stumble.
Yeah,
You're
that's
gonna
true.
stumble. You're going
That's
to
true.
stumble because your relationship is to enhance who you are, not define who you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh man, she got this handsome man. He take care of all the bills and all this. But if she is not worked on herself, right, she's gonna suffer. And then the man is like, oh, he got this beautiful woman. She works hard, and all this and all these different things. He's not going to appreciate it because he's not worked on himself. It always comes down to your foundation, who you are, and who you want to become. You know, and it's always to me, and I'll throw this little bit in there. To me, you never stop growing in character, dignity, in life. You never stop growing. You get older, but you never stop growing. You never stop learning. It don't. It's not possible because if you stop learning, you're not prepared for the years ahead of you. And it's just my opinion. I don't have no no concrete evidence that that's the case. But if you stop growing and you're moving and you're grooving and all these different things, and you become an elder statesman, an elder woman, and you have grandkids and all these, you cannot stop. You have to grow along with them.
Absolutely. That's
You
true.
got to
That's a true
grow along
statement.
with them. It's the truth. And do yourself a favor, plant the seed of community in your children and your grandchildren. Now, I don't want you to have them be naive and be taken advantage of, but understand, help them to understand that that's a goal for our preservation. And nobody's saying, oh, I want you to, when you get, this is not bad advice. When you get on that job, just put your head down, don't care about nothing, get that shit done. That's not bad advice. Because you want your kids to grow, you want them to eat. You know what I'm
That's a,
saying?
that provides a stable community, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you know you can do that and provide that and keep things at a level stance where people can grow from. And I think that's the key, man. Understand that, you know what? I understand as a 60-year-old man, I understand what the struggles of life is and overcoming it. It's never fast, man. You never gain, you know, prosperity in a fast way. It's a process, man. You know what I'm saying? It's an understanding between two people. The strongest unity in the world is two people coming together and saying, you know what, we understand that this is what we're trying to do, and everything has to coincide, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you don't argue in front of everybody. You take it behind doors, and y'all come to a resolution how to move forward, and that
Good
requires
point.
understanding. You know what I'm saying? That requires understanding, and that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Nobody can argue against you, man, if they don't know your business. You know what I'm saying? They don't know where your strength lies. They can't argue against you, in that aspect. It's all about trust, understanding, growth, and humility. It just is, bro.
Well, understand, folks who coming in. This is Ruffle Your Feathers Day, right? What ruffles your fucking feathers day, actually. And basically, why I came up with this, not to express any anger that I have or any kind of resentment, but to speak my observations to people, and for Damon and myself to discuss them.
Well, you can express anger. You just can't be stubborn about it, bro.
But see,
Especially if you
no,
see,
no, if you're angry,
especially if you
if,
see.
if you're angry, doesn't stubbornness come along with that? If you're expressing it,
Yes, but what I mean by being stubborn about it, if you engage with a person and you speak in your mind, and anger comes out of it, and resentment, and all these different things, you have to ask yourself, why are you asking this person this question? Do you expect them to give you solid advice about it, or are you just venting?
first of all, that's the whole point of it, man. See, this is the thing. You said you expect a certain thing from that person. When you know, it's the fact that it's the actual question. You ask the question. This Ruffles of Feathers Day. This is what it was. You ask the question. You know what I mean? If my say our exchange when they say, do we like each other? Do our community like each other? That exchange right there was a misunderstanding because I simplified the question for a reason. You didn't see the question as a simplification. You said, "Well, you don't like me." In so many words, you said, "I didn't like your answer." I didn't say that. I said I wanted you to answer the actual question, and then eventually you answered. You said you put the word love and like each other because that question was simplified. I did that on purpose, not to be clever, but that was something that was just a little filler question so we can move on to the next thing. But then I needed you to understand that you're misunderstanding what I'm saying to you. And I don't want you to think that I'm disagreeing with you. I didn't disagree with you at all. It had nothing to do with disagreement. But I did keep repeating that same question.
Right? You did keep repeating that same question. And if you remember what I said maybe, brother, you just didn't like my answers that I
See,
gave
that's what I said. You no, it didn't have nothing to do with liking your answer. You didn't answer the question. That's what I said. And eventually you did. When I went in further, what I was asking, I elaborated further. Then you're like, okay, I get it, and then you answered it.
Well, at that point, I conceded, man, because you were sticking to your point. But in terms of the conversation, I think I answered the question based on what I think and believe, and that didn't suffice. So I said, okay, you know
See,
what,
you
bro?
keep see that's what I'm saying. That I keep telling you it had nothing to do with whether or not it was a satisfactory answer. I said you did not answer the question. That's
You said
exactly
I
what I
what?
said.
You
You
said
did
what?
not answer. You didn't answer the question. You went into no, you went into elaboration is what you did. You started saying, well, look,
okay, so
you gave example. Listen to what I'm saying to you. You gave examples of people who would appreciate you and your wife, right? Appreciate what you did for them. And then I said, well, appreciation comes before the like. I'm saying, does our community like each other? That's what I was saying. You were talking about the good things that you guys did. I get that. I didn't
I was
dispute
speaking
that.
on examples. I was speaking on examples
I,
as
I
it
didn't I,
pertains to
did,
the
I
question
didn't
that you
dispute
asked.
that. I
As it
didn't
pertains to the
dispute that
question
at
that
all.
you asked, I was giving examples, and your follower was I wasn't being definitive. My examples was the definitive in terms of my experience.
You said I wasn't being defensive. No, I said you didn't answer the question.
You said I wasn't being definitive.
I
Right, not
said
answering the question. I was answering the question to my best abilities based on what you asked, and I gave examples of how, you know what I'm saying, of how people I didn't know, they had to have some type of affinity towards me to even
because you did
incorporate me,
because
incorporate
out the
me into
kind
their life.
because out the kindness of your life, you helped them, right?
Not the kindness. I didn't even. I said at the beginning, I didn't even know them. It just manifest in that situation, bro.
Okay.
I didn't even know them. So, in order for them to come to me and say, "Hey, man, this is what you mean to me. I don't know you, but this is what you mean to me," I said in response to that was they had to have some type of affinity towards me, be it like me or respect me or whatever the case may be. It had to be some type of emotional reaction, bro. So when you say, do we like each other? I spoke on the emotional reaction of people I didn't even know who expressed certain things to me. So I think that kind of answers the question, bro. Do
No,
we
it
like each other? Do we
all
like
right.
each other? They have to
Okay.
have some type of affinity, some type of
Okay.
emotional affinity
Okay.
towards me to come up to me and say, hey, man, I appreciate watching you. I followed your lead and all these different things. And it meant something to me. Is that liking me? I don't know. You determine what that
So
is.
so so
Is
you
it
no
respecting me?
no
You
no first
determine
of
what
all,
that is. But that's what
so
it
you
is.
but so you're telling me instead of a yes or no, that wasn't enough for you because that's what it was. It was a yes or no question.
Yes, we like
That's
each other.
that
I
wasn't
think I
that
said I think I
no,
said that.
and I told you that. But you're saying that I disagree with your answer. No, I had nothing to do with it. It was I asked you a yes or no question as a filler because we was going to move on to something else. I told you that. I wasn't trying to be difficult. I'm like, well, look, I get that. I understand that. And then I said, well, damn, I said, well, is it out of appreciation? And then
I
they
was just
learn the
trying to
lesson?
ask. I was just trying to answer the question, bro.
Okay, so I was trying to get you to understand the question that I asked. That's all it was.
I get it.
That's all it was. It had nothing to do with anything else other than that.
I get it.
Any last words for today?
Um, like I said earlier at the beginning, man, I had a great day, man, and I feel blessed, and I'm gonna revel in that.
Good, good, good. I'm glad to hear that. Me myself, I had a good day other than a headache, but it was. I think that we rose to the occasion in today's episode. Some great answers. It was some great dialogue. Big Mike, Larry Howe, Lawrence. We appreciate you guys, man, for tuning in. Great questions, great statements. We appreciate your participation. You know, please go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe, and push us into the algorithm, quote unquote algorithm, so we can be seen and heard. And until next Friday, there's a Strong Perspective podcast. Good
Is
night.
that my big mate?
No.